America's best action-packed road racing. With the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as our backdrop, we expect today to be slammin' and jammin'. Welcome to Cleveland, Ohio, where today we bring you the Simple Green 100. It is round 6 of the BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series. We are at Burke Lakefront Airport, probably one of the finest artificial road racing tracks in North America. Today I'm joined by former Trans Am champion Dorsey Schrader. I'm Derek Daly, and Dorsey, this is a great place for road racing.
Derek, this airport circuit was one of the most fun ones to drive because of its wide open nature. You said it at the beginning of the show, slamming and jamming.
And there's our driver points. Brian Simo following 3 wins is still at the top. Gentilozzi is closing in. But the front row today is a very, very big story here, and we are basking in the sunshine. Let's go to Greg Creamer.
Paul Gentilozzi finds himself with his 4th pole of the season here at Cleveland. He didn't set the fastest time, and we're going to get to that story in a minute. However, he is on the inside of the front row. It's his 4th pole. He's the only driver now with a shot at that $30,000 bonus, the rollover money of $15,000 for a clean sweep from Simple Green, and the additional $15,000 that they added in. But a huge story that's developed here is Randy Ruhlman in the Preform Line Products Aurora. Randy, on the front row for the first time this season, awesome performance.
Thanks, Greg. We've really been trying hard this year. The guys have done a great job week in and week out, and I was glad to be able to reward them with getting the car up front here.
You've obviously run here at Cleveland before. That had to help a little bit, and I would suspect that you guys have just been tweaking and massaging this Aurora all season long. It looks like it's come good.
We really have. We took a bit of a gamble on the Aurora at the beginning of the year, being the only one having it in the series, but the package has turned out to be very competitive, and we're real happy with it.
I would say so. Very successful indeed. You hear the engines have come to life. Randy Ruhlman, to make the story even more phenomenal, his dad had open heart surgery, got out of surgery at 1 o'clock last night. It's been a tough weekend, but a good one for Randy Ruhlman.
A very good one for Randy Ruhlman. 10 years ago he raced an Oldsmobile, brought it back this year, and he's running right at the front. Dorsey, this racetrack is very, very unusual and very fast.
Visually, Derek, there's not much to look at, and you can get 10 cars wide, but those cars have got to funnel down and get through the corner. That's very difficult, particularly in turn 1. Let's listen to what the drivers had to say about this.
Oh, it's going to be very interesting. I've never seen a Trans Am race or been in a Trans Am race where you go 6, 7, 8 wide, and we're all supposed to conform to one and say after you. That just doesn't exist after you.
The circuit itself is really interesting. It has a really unique pavement combination with all the grooves cut in it for the planes that land there, and the obstacles when you leave the track, like landing lights, and there is a wall at Cleveland. I've hit it 4 times. There's only one, and I've hit it 4 times.
This is like hammer, man. And you know, you wouldn't be a race car driver if you didn't feel you had something to prove, if you didn't think you were better than the other guys. So there, you know, there's a lot of bruised egos out there at the end of the weekend.
Great turn of phrase for a road race from Leighton Reese, the man who almost won the opening round at Sebring. This is the cars rolling off from our dummy grid. Let's reflect a little bit on the season so far. And an opening in Sebring, round 1, it was a cracker. Brian Simo came all the way from the back to the front. He then went to Charlotte and made it 2 in a row for the Cavalli Mangusta.
At Long Beach, a very controversial race gives the first career win to this man right here. That is Tommy Dreese, and he wears that smile still today. At Mossport, Brian Simo takes command.
And then we moved on to Detroit, and Paul Gentilozzi wins in the Jag.
The BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series is presented by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control. And sponsored by Cutler Hammer.
Welcome back to Burke Lakefront Airport, the Simple Green 100, round 6 of the BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series. And Greg Creamer is following one of our big stories.
We mentioned the big story developing with Paul Gentilozzi on pole not getting the fastest time in qualifying. That actually went to Brian Simo. And there was a problem in Tech. I'm with Joe Hoviger. Joe, can you tell us exactly what happened and what's the story?
Yeah, we knocked the front nose loose a little bit out there in the track in qualifying, and unfortunately, as per the rule, you're down a little bit low, and that they put the bar across there. If it knocks into it, you're out. And you know, it's the right thing to do for them, and probably the wrong thing to do for us. But shame on us once, won't happen again. You know.
Well, he's got to get going, of course. We're getting close to the start. But one thing to keep in mind, Brian Simo, you'd think, maybe he could get through the pack if he had some help from some yellows. This track, traditionally, in Trans Am racing, has been the one least likely to have yellows. It goes green, start to finish a lot. These guys have their work cut out.
Dorsey Schrader, a time of frustration for Brian Simo.
Boy, look at the damage on the front of the car from the rough track. It came through Tech. It was too low. They've thrown him to the back. But, Derek, if you ever had to go from the back of a race to the front, Cleveland, with its wide passing zones, would be the place.
And this has given us a reshaped grid. Paul Gentilozzi is on the pole with the Black Cat, and a great job by Randy Ruhlman in the Oldsmobile Aurora to be on the front row. Row 2 has Johnny Miller in the Corvette beside the Ford Mustang of Mike Lewis. Move back to row 3, we have Jack Willis. He is the only man on this team this weekend in the Chevrolet Corvette, and Jeff Altenberg in the second of the Jags. Row 4 has Tony Ave back again, had a great run in Detroit. Beside him is Lou Gelati, good qualifying one for Lou. Leighton Reese is inside row 5, and outside is Stu Hayner in the Chevrolet Camaro. Move back to row 6, and we have Bruce Cavalli in one of his own Mangusta cars, and Tommy Dreesy, the Long Beach winner. Row 7, Chris Neville in the Ford Mustang, and Brian Pelkey in the Chevrolet Camaro. Dorsey, as you move on back through rows 8, 9, 10, etc., it gives the chance to reflect here. You mentioned that for Brian Simo, because it's so wide here, it might make it slightly easier for him.
Well, it is indeed easier because you've got long straightaways and they're wide straightaways. A lot of maneuvering room. Brian will have to really work hard. Of course, a caution wouldn't hurt his cause either.
Gary Alexander from Indianapolis, outside row 12 as you move on back. Don Sack, remember his efforts at Long Beach with a huge crash earlier this year. And Cloud Burtine is back there in the Ford Mustang. We saw him get himself in trouble. And then we have our first female on the grid, Mary Beth Harrison. As you look back through our starting grid, John Paul Jr.
Boy, something happened with him. He should have been way up from there, so he's way back. Willie T, second to last, and of course Brian Simo at the tail. There's a potent combo at the back there.
There is Willie T on the right-hand side. He had engine problems in qualifying. Willie T ran so well at Detroit, ran second. This is on board with Kerry Alexander. Two of our onboard cameras towards the back of the grid move a little bit forward. This is Steve Pelkey, Brian's dad, starting 23rd. You can see how wide this track is. Move a bit further forward. Johnny Miller has an onboard camera for us, as does Randy Ruhlman. We're going to look out from the back of Randy's car. He's on the front row of the grid with this man here. Paul Gentilozzi finally managed to win a race in Detroit in the Black Cat, the Jaguar, left of our picture. Randy Ruhlman, the Oldsmobile, on the right. And Dorsey, they will go around this chicane, a right-left, but the run to the first corner here is so wide that, in fact, sometimes makes it difficult to funnel down to the tight apex.
For sure, when it goes green, Derek, you're going to see 2 rows become 6 rows or 8 rows.
Yeah.
Watch, it always happens. Then comes turn 1.
This is one of the runways. There's tack, then they go across the taxiway. There's a green flag. Gentilozzi jumps into the lead immediately.
Good for Gentilozzi. Look behind him, though.
Clear of the field is Paul Gentilozzi. 3 wide. There's contact. Oh, there's big contact at the back.
That happens every time. I don't know what the cars are yet, but that every turn 1 here. We got 3 cars involved. Peter Shea, I see, is 1 for sure.
Peter Shea, John Paul.
And the 14
is that Stu
cars.
Hayner? I think it was Brian Pelkey in one of Ciappatini's Camaros. So a crash, a big crash, heavy damage in that opening first lap corner.
And of course, as always here in Cleveland, we'll have a full course caution because those cars, I can tell you from the impact, are not going to go anywhere right away.
Flat racetrack, very bumpy through here, back out onto the runway. Long 180-degree right-hander here. It's a slip, it's a slide, you're on the power, you balance on the brakes. You drift out, and here's the wall that Johnny Miller said he's hit 4 times on the right side.
And I've hit it once myself, as a matter of fact.
Coming down to the end of lap 1, Paul Gentilozzi, very bumpy here. This is one of the taxiways, and yes, we do have a full course yellow to clean up our mess. Brian Pelkey. Brian Pelkey unfortunately got involved in that first lap melee down at the first corner.
Well, it was back in the pack, and it was hard to say what happened. Of course, somebody came in way too hot. There was Peter Shea we looked at with the Ford all tore up. Somebody got in there way too deep, locked up like always happens, and it's caused two guys' race to be over.
Yeah, there is Peter Shea. You see him right behind Dick Greer in the Wendy's Corvette. Peter Shea thinks he might want to carry on here. Dorsey, would I let him carry on with a right front fender like that?
Well, I knocked the whole front end off. They would let him, but that big hole in the hood there's the other two cars, or one car there. That hole in the hood there will probably mean he's got a radiator damage. That one particular has a radiator damage. I see it smoking over there.
Yeah, it is Brian Pelkey. Short day for Brian. His dad's still in the race. Father, son. Brian Pelkey, of course, one of the Team Green Academy choices a couple of years ago. This is on board Steve Pelkey's car.
Look at that. Well, there was the culprit. One brake locked up solidly.
Was that John Paul Jr.? I think it was.
Well, take a look here. We'll see all the way out to the outside by the grass. It is John Paul Jr.
This is a kamikaze move here by John Paul Jr.
Oh my God! He just left it. Wait till watch this. Watch. Boom!
Oh!
And of course, look at Brian Pelkey on the outside. He didn't even have anywhere to go.
I will tell you, Peter Shea was mugged from behind. Brian Pelkey was innocent bystander, and John Paul, you probably can't hide from this piece of video. Welcome back to Cleveland, and Mike Lewis is in all sorts of trouble.
Mike Lewis has brought the Amerisuites number 12 Ford Mustang down into pit lane. Remember, he qualified in the Fast Five, and he shut it off. And they're going after something at the back of the car. They had tires ready to go. They're looking underneath for a minute and thought it might be a tire stop. However, they have that car jacked up in the air, and it looks more severe than just tires. Possible damage to the rear end. Almost smells like something along those lines. He's broken a suspension link. He's broken a suspension link. You can see it laying on the ground. And locator for the rear end, that whole rear end assembly is moving side to side. So it's fixable, but this is going to be terribly time-consuming for a gentleman who sat on a pole here 2 years ago, who was looking forward to a strong race here this year. Crew will be spending some time going at it.
Right there, Greg. Good job. Dorsey, did he hit the wall?
Well, I don't think he did. I saw right there that the bolt was still in the end of that suspension rod, that train rod. Maybe the nut fell off. I hope not.
On board with Brian Simo, 27th place. Brian is making his way from the back. Now that we have plenty of wide open spaces here, but the problem is you still have to wait for your opportunity. Look at him dancing right ahead of him.
You know, Derek, it's controlled aggression. You've got to be aggressive, but you can't crash out. Look here now, he can get all these guys. This is going down into one of the fastest corners at the end of the straightaway. This Indy cars. Look, he just passed 5 cars right there. 5 cars.
One of them was Craig Schaefer. That was the orange car, number 39.
That was controlled aggression, I guess, or at least it was aggressive.
And Willie T is tagged along right with him. So Willie T and Brian Simo still coming from the back.
Working the outside here. Here's turn 1. Watch how tight this is. He comes all the way down to the cone now. You got to get power down. Listen to the engine. Hard braking here down into 3rd gear. He can make room right here. If this next left-hander, he can set these guys up. Watch, he gets a good shot off this corner. Nah, didn't really get a good shot off that corner.
On board with Brian Simo. Good stuff here. That's Willie T, just 2 cars ahead of him. So Willie T is doing a good job here too, making his way. Simo trying to hang on to him.
Very fast corner right here. You can get in trouble. Look.
Oh, he's in trouble.
I told you could get in trouble. Look at that. Willie T off the outside. It's easy to do there.
That is the long drifting right-hander double corner, and Willie T gets himself in all sorts of trouble.
You get out too wide and the marbles on the outside grab you, and there you go. Look at Willie T now making another mistake. Frustration now.
Engine problems in qualifying put him right to the back. Finished second at Long Beach.
So
ran
easy to
second in
make that.
Detroit. So easy. That is a drifting corner. The car is almost in a four-wheel slide.
And the course isn't marked well there, so you can't see the outside from the car. And he went right out to the grass and into it.
Keeps the engine running so it doesn't cause a full course yellow. Here are the tires.
Gentilozzi loose there. Got real loose at the apex of that corner. Saw the Jag step out. Johnny Miller right there to take advantage if something goes wrong.
First, second, in your picture. Randy Ruhlman right behind him in third. That is Tony Ave, who is in fourth place. Jack Willis is fifth. Then Lou Gelati, top of your screen. Then Jeff Altenberg.
Really got to watch dropping your wheels into those little grass pits there, because it bounces the car up on its chassis, and when it does that, you bicycle it and you can crash just from that alone.
Johnny Miller came so close to winning the opening round at Sebring. Led most of the race until a late full course yellow caused a one-lap dash, and then he crashed into Leighton Reese. Tony Ave, we saw him run so well at Detroit, then he got himself into trouble, began to go back. But Brian Simo has dropped Willie T because of that spin, but just hold on to our camera in here. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Brian Simo has gone from 39th place to 17th.
Of course, the further you go, Derek, when you start to get to the middle of the pack, each pass becomes that much harder because these guys are a little bit quicker.
We're not even 6 laps into the race, and he's closing in on the top 15.
Now remember, this was the fastest car on the racetrack in qualifying. He was the pole sitter, although he was low and thrown to the back. That is a very fast race car.
Tommy Bahama. It is the Cavalli Mangusta.
Now he's got Claudio Bertin right in front of him. Actually, we're looking at the back right now of Steve Kalki's car.
That is Steve. Now, Steve does not have to move over. This is a racing situation. This is racing for position. Mind you, I'm sure Steve might be asking himself, is he the leader? What's he doing there? And he moves over, of course, just lets him go.
Well, you saw Brian take a look at him there, and he was thinking about it, and he said, will I go outside? Should I go inside? He picked inside. It all worked out fine.
Almost in the top 15 is Brian Simo. Don Maluzio right ahead of him. That is Don Maluzio about to lose that position. So Brian Simo going like gangbusters. Willie T has himself back on the racetrack, but he is now almost half a lap behind. As we go to break, there is your top 10 with Miller still all over the back of Gentilozzi. We are back in Cleveland. Derek Daly and Dorsey Schrader with you, watching Brian Simo, who's coming from the back. It only took him 8 laps to get in the top 15. He now closes in on the boss man himself. Bruce Cavalli is in the sister Mangusta right ahead of Brian Simo.
And the boss man's doing a great job today, running 10th place. Brian wants that 10th place position. I'm sure that Bruce is not going to hold him up. They would have been on the radio by now and told him, here he comes, he's hot and heavy, let him go by cleanly, because look right in front of him is the 9th place car. So a good battle going on right there. That is Leighton Reese in 9th.
And here's the wide open spaces of that turn 1. It's a braking zone that you can pick one of 4 or 5 or 6 lines, and Simo picks a nice safe one down the inside. For sure Bruce knew he was coming and just let him go.
And that was a smart way to let him go, because it didn't hinder either of those cars. Now he sets sail for the 9th place car. That's Leighton Reese in the Pontiac right up ahead. Simo wants him for lunch.
Yeah, oh, he does. Closes in on Leighton Reese. Now, Brian Simo had a lot of problems after Tech. We're going to go to Greg Creamer to explain to you what happened and why he was put to the back.
When the checkered flag flew at the end of Fast 5 qualifying, Brian Simo had almost a second on the field, but when he got into the tech shed here, it also was found that he had an advantage, and it's one that is illegal. Unintentional or not, it was illegal, and it involved the clearance of the splitter. And I'm with Leighton Reese, driver of the Banner Engineering Phillips 66 Pontiac. And Leighton, we hear a lot of talk about the splitter and its importance. Can you tell us what it is and why is it so crucial to these cars?
Yeah, the splitter is an aerodynamic device. It's basically a blade that divides the airflow over the top of the car and underneath the car. The lower we can have the splitter to the ground, the more effective the ground effects package is. The rule states that the car can be no lower than 2.5 inches to the ground, and that's where we put the leading edge or the splitter. The rest of the car is raked up at a slight angle underneath, so it's jacked up in the rear just a little bit. This creates a low pressure area under the car, and that creates downforce, and that increases our cornering speeds.
Now, there's a very specific way that they check that 2.5-inch clearance, and some of Layton's guys are going to show how. It's pretty simple. It's a bar that they set on the ground plane and slide it up underneath the nose. Now, you saw that clunk right there. That's not a good sign. It's got to go underneath the car and travel all the way up as it does here.
Everybody at Layton's Garage in Minnetonka, Minnesota, proud of Banner Racing's effort in Trans Am this year. By far their best season, as Brian Simo now forces the issue. Dorsey and goes down the inside. Really, Layton couldn't respond there.
Layton left it out wide on purpose, I think, and let him go underneath there. He knows there's a lot of speed right there, and now Brian's on his way toward the front.
And the second Mangusta now right behind Leighton Reese. So Simo well into the top 10.
Right, you look at the back of Johnny Miller's car now, and it is dripping with oil.
You can see it. The front spoiler was white. Now it's a sort of a browny beigey, which is a mixture of oil and dirt from where the cars jump off the racetrack. Tony Ave now trying to come down the inside of number 59, which is Simon Gregg.
Oh, a spin there to the 44. That's Bruce Quavali in the Mangusta is spun around in the long straightaway, and cars going on both sides of him.
And Bruce had just got himself into the top 10. Leighton Reese had made a pit stop. He was running 9th. He made a pit stop. Unfortunately for him, he's now gone to the back and now on a charge to try and get himself back into that top 10. Gentilozzi now in traffic. That's Don Sack. Don Sack. You can see the oil. Look at that, Dorsey, all over the back of that car.
Yeah, it's all over the back of Johnny's car. He's got probably what is a transmission or a rear end leak, and it's blowing up in there. Look at the traffic. That's Altenberg on the inside. That's the battle for 7th.
It is Altenberg.
Boy.
Right in the middle of it here. Trying to hang on to that 7th place.
That's what's fun about Cleveland, though. You can get several cars 3-4 wide, and it's fun when you get to the corner as long as you have a little cooperation.
Jeff Altenberg moved into Trans Am as a rookie this year in one of the Black Cats. Going to hang on here. There is Lou Gelati.
Gelati, Altenberg having a very good go of it. 98 there.
Stu
Hayner's car. He gets a different paint job every week, so it's hard to tell.
We're accustomed to seeing him in the yellow and black Camaro. Very like Willie T's car. Trenton Forging backs his efforts this year with Frank Ciappatini. Stu trying to hang on here to Jeff Altenberg. Gelati now puts Craig Schaefer between himself and Stu Hayner.
See if Altenberg can get by Schaefer now. This is a good place to do it. Come off this corner, set up for the short straight, and go up underneath under the brake zone. Not close enough this lap. Now we're on with Randy Ruhlman.
With a clean onboard camera this time because he's dropped back.
Oh, but it's not running very well anymore. Listen to the engine.
What is that?
It's not good, whatever it is.
Oh, no.
It's ignition, I think.
Randy Ruhlman.
He's done, and it's just quit.
Started on the front row of the grid. Ran in a rostrum position all day long. Began to drop back then from Johnny Miller, and as you can hear, it's all gone silent.
Look at this. That's out the back of Paul Gentilozzi, and that face you're looking at is Johnny Miller's smiley Corvette, wanting to take a bite out of that cat.
A big portion of Johnny Miller's budget goes to painting the car and the transporter.
Here he comes. Look in the inside. Paul doesn't let that happen, but he did have a run going there, Derek. First time in the race, he was right there, able to strike.
This is the Simple Green 100 from Burke Lakefront Airport. It is long and it's wide.
Paul doesn't want that thing in front of him leaking all that oil, I can tell you that. Oh, look, lap traffic now.
Oh, Miller has a chance here. Gentilozzi has to go around the outside, as does Miller. Round the outside, that's where Willie T spun.
That was Simmons who dutifully got out of the way, let those guys go, but it's not over yet. Look, well, there's another one that just moved
pulls
over.
Out of the way. Another lap finishes after 26 laps. Gentilozzi still hangs on, but Miller beginning to turn the heat up. Welcome back, and Dorsey Schrader. This is where they have to be very careful, these two leaders.
Yeah, they don't want to get mixed up in lap traffic and make a mistake or be in someone else's mistake, because it can take you out of the race. Oh, look at Johnny Miller, big slide.
See, Miller could take advantage here. That's Craig Schaefer, moves away to the right-hand side. Gentilozzi still hangs on. He has led, but has not been a comfortable lead. Now, somebody we lost from our top 10 earlier was Tony Ave. Let's go to Greg Creamer in the pits.
Tony Ave has the number 20 North Tech Development Corp Camaro in the pits, and damage to the left rear corner. Boy, that rear rim trashed. Also a little bit of scraping on the front. Almost looks like he may have run wide, clipped the wall. You'd have to imagine that would have happened over the turn 8 area. Of course, rim damage like that making it tough to get it all. They got lucky there as it came off fairly easily. Mechanic taking a look, check any damage to the hub assembly or the suspension.
Our Greg Creamer did a 200-yard sprint to bring you that report on Tony Ave. And Dorsey, that looks like an autograph on the concrete.
That is the autograph signature of Cleveland. Lakefront Airport, left hand into the wall. We've all been there, one little slide, and that's what you got. That was a good hit. Now you got to wonder if it bent the rear axle assembly, because if it's done that, his day will not be very good.
Now, this is an unsponsored team, but Tony Ave, as we saw in Detroit at the last race, and here, is well capable of running right at the front with this Chevrolet Camaro. So Tony Ave, another good account of himself here at Cleveland. This is a battle for fourth, and Jeff Altenberg is closed right up on the back of Stu Hainer.
Hainer and Altenberg, this would be a good showdown here. Nice line right there by Altenberg. He slides that cat right by the apex, doesn't get in the grass. Hainer very, very solid. Look at that, car's not moving around much. This is where Willie T crashed. Real slippery corner if you get it wide. They both leave room. And here comes the wall, Derek.
Yeah, on the left, that's it right there. That's where they all bounce off. Left rear corner usually takes the bounce, but Stu Hainer trying to hold off the Steel Racing Enterprises entry of Jeff Altenberg in the Black Jag, and Jeff looks menacing. He is on fire here coming forward.
He had a look in the brake zone there. There's another opportunity here as we head toward turn 1. Will he go to the inside? Yes, he will.
And he's quick, Dorsey, off the corner as well as the braking zone.
Now he's in a little bit tighter. Stu can turn behind him and under him. He'll try to do so here.
There's the behind.
Try to get the power.
Now he's under. Now he's beside.
The drag race is on.
Now he's on the inside for the right-hander. Can Jeff Altenberg break later and chop across the front of him? Oh, Stu never managed it. No, never quite stayed inside.
Altenberg used the big high road around the outside to get high speed. He got that. He got the big speed going and was able to hold him off.
So now we have the two Jags in first and fourth. Jeff Altenberg, one of our leading rookies here in this Rookie of the Year battle. In fact, if Jeff Altenberg finishes here, he may take over the lead of the Rookie of the Year battle. And Dorsey, that is a prestigious award for these rookies.
Yeah, it's a very prestigious award. Comes along, it stands in the record book forever. That's one of the things you go for. Brings a little money into your pocket. That's the main thing that you go for.
Who is smoking here?
David Cease.
Right ahead. No, it's the car behind. A lot of damage on it.
Yeah, that's Claudio Burton in what looks to be Simon Gregg's paint job. They're both painted identical, but that's a Ford Mustang, not the Camaro that we normally see painted that way.
Yeah, Lou Gelati now coming up behind Bertine. Bertine damage to the right front.
And the under tray as well, so he's been off and into something.
Yeah.
That won't be a happy car.
Running slowly, keeps out of the way of the leading cars. That is the right way to do it. That is David Cease. We follow G.J. Menon also, but we hear he is in trouble on his way to the pit lane.
Number 40, G.J. Menon brings the Key Asset Management Camaro down in, another of the Duroc Motorsports cars, and apparently looks like may have gone agricultural. They're clearing out a lot of debris from the radiator inlet on the front. Had damage to the left front corner of the car. It's all done. In terms of the tire, they've got that taken care of. What was up on that one? Looked like there was some debris in the radiator duct. Did you just get off course?
It looked like he got together with somebody, Greg, and cut down the left front tire. Probably got off after he cut the tire down. I can see the guys are looking at it right now. They knocked the valve stem out of the wheel when he got together with somebody. So in the pits.
Simon having a tough day too. He's been in and out with brake problems. Looks like he's done for the day.
Yeah, Simon's done for the day.
Sorry to hear about it, Jim.
Some days go like that, Greg. Thanks.
Well, that Jim Durhog and I had a hunt coming together, and he knocked my valve still off. There he's got a payback.
Jim Durhog, a former successful Trans Am competitor himself, and this is Bertine. We saw him begin to smoke earlier. We know he got heavy damage on the right front, at least, of that Ford Mustang. He is done for the day, and Paul Gentilozzi is still mired in traffic. There is Dreesy. He made the pit stop earlier on, got the spark plug problem fixed, and he is back out, not a contender here. But Gentilozzi beginning to get the good run through the traffic here. Oh, we got a full course yellow again. This must be is this for Bertine? I think this will be for Claudio Bertine to drag his car back. And now the boys get to catch their breath and reload the guns here. Paul Gentilozzi has led all day long here, but it's only about 4 to 6 car lengths at the very most at any one time.
And remember Brian Simo, there he is right there. He is now in 3rd place, and this is going to be a fight to the finish.
In what may be the fastest car on the racetrack. Think back to the fireworks of Sebring. It may happen all over again. Welcome back. Now, Music and Cleveland are long-time bedfellows, so we decided to ask some of the drivers about their musical choices.
You know, I grew up in the 70s, and I was a little bit on the counterculture. Now it's considered classic stuff, but, you know, we were in the Led Zeppelin and the Marshall Tucker Band and, you know, whatever you could party to, you know.
One thing I listened to was WMMS in Cleveland, which was the #1 rock and roll station in the nation for a couple of years.
Oh, I love the 50s music. Absolutely just fell in love with it.
And in my early college days, we were heavily into Frank Zappa, so we were getting pretty far out there for a while.
38 Special, you know, that's my kind of music. Boston, that kind of stuff. Aerosmith.
Eric Clapton and the Stones, and I find my teenage sons listening to the same music I did, which is kind of scary.
At the shop, I throw on classical music every once in a while just to drive the guys nuts.
I like Led Zeppelin, you know. I love the Cars. You know, the Cars were cool.
I've got two daughters, 9 and 10. They both think they're teenagers, so we're doing the Britney Spears thing and that sort of deal right now, so I'm trying to like that.
And then Michael Jackson. I know everyone's going, oh, you know, Michael Jackson. Michael, man, oh, please, don't get me started. Don't get me.
Maybe we should ask everybody to sing and dance next time like Tommy Dreesy.
That should be entertaining for sure.
Mike Davis remembers the music from the 50s. I wouldn't have said that if I was him.
Well, yeah, he'd step right up there. Here we go with our restart. Not much race to go now. Watch Simo. He's back there. He's got lap traffic in the way. He will be coming hard. Look to the inside.
There he goes, down the inside. Now there's only 4 cars between Simo and their 2 leaders, Paul Gentilozzi and Johnny Miller. Right here, Jaguar versus Corvette, and the Mangusta is coming up from behind. He's now just 3 cars between him and the 2 leaders.
As a driver, this is what you wait for in the race. That caution right there just opened up all the stops. Now it's time to race. Don't save anything. Knock the fenders off the doggone thing, but you got to go to the front now.
But don't autograph the concrete wall.
No, leave the wall alone. that you always lose that battle.
You see Gentilozzi, look, he kicks the back sideways a little bit under power, so he is not taking it easy here at all. Looking in his mirrors to see where Johnny Miller is. The back of Johnny Miller's car is now covered in oil and dirt. Something still leaks out of that car.
That car just with the slide, and you have to wonder, is the oil getting to the tires or just coming out a little bit? It's completely black back there. Watch Simo. If he could get the fastest race lap, he takes the money away from Gentilozzi. Gentilozzi knows he's got to really turn a fast lap now.
Tony Avi and Tommy Dreesy now between Brian Simo and the 2 leaders. It is not a battle for position, so they will probably move out of the way and maybe make it a bit easier for Simo. There is Simo down inside Dreesy. Can he make it in the braking zone? Not yet.
Though. Dreesy almost loses control, getting under there.
Whoa! Side by side with Tony Ave.
Dreesy almost lost it in the brake zone trying to stay away from Ave. They don't care. They've got their own battle going. Simo now will take that position.
Now it's clear road for Simo to try and reel in Johnny Miller and Paul Gentilozzi. He has come all the way from the back from 39th starting position because the car was deemed to be a skosh too low after setting the pole position time. so he went from the pole to last, and this has made another firecracker race.
Now this lap here, Brian Simo, with clear sailing between him and the guys he needs to get to, can turn a really fast race lap. You heard him bang the rev limiter right there. That means that car is at full chat. It's going to go as quick as it can, trying to run down these leaders.
It is at full chat. Paul Gentilozzi bounces over the bumps here. Johnny Miller's in the braking zone, right in his wheel tracks. And here is Simo. Oh, look at this.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, we have a skirmish back here. Cars off. That's where Willie T was off. Gary Johnson, that's Dan Fury. Don Malucio's the one that comes out the best. He comes right through the field there. He's back on the racetrack.
Wow, but don't mind those boys. Did you see Brian Simo in the braking zone? They hear the tires squeal as he locked up the rear brakes.
Good save there. That's a bad place to crash. There's concrete on both sides right there. If he'd have lost it, it would have been the end of his day, but good job. He's trying hard.
On board now with the Johnson Controls Jag, backed by Homelink. That is Johnny Miller. He looks a long way behind. He's not that far behind. Simo is still closing in on Johnny Miller.
Now when Simo gets behind Miller, he's going to get a face full of that oil and not like that a bit. Also, the racetrack right now has to start getting a little bit slippery.
Gentilozzi beginning to put a bit of daylight now between himself and Miller.
One lap to go, not much time. Simo's going to have to work awful hard. I don't know if he can get to Gentilozzi. He can get to Miller.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He can get to Johnny Miller. Miller now going to have his hands full trying to hang on to second place. He's had it all day long, but Simo is closing in. He is closing in on Johnny Miller.
It all comes into this little area here. This succession of corners coming up. You can make or lose ground. There's like 4 or 5 corners now before you get over to the IndyCar side or the kart side over there where the fans are. A lot of fans here at Cleveland watch this race. This is a good race for Cleveland.
What a great run by Simo here, and he gets even closer to Johnny Miller. He only has 4 more corners. 2 of them are right here. 100-mile-an-hour. Oh, he's on the rev limiter again. You can hear him.
Yeah, he's banged it good and hard that time, which just gives good exit speed off the other corner. You can't do that every lap, but on a good one you can.
Miller hangs on. Gentilozzi looks safe. Simo is still beginning to close in on Johnny Miller. Here's the braking zone. I don't think he's close enough.
Oh, no, he's not, but he's got one corner.
It's a chicane. Can Simo win the drag race? No, I don't think he will. Gentilozzi takes win number 2. Johnny Miller hangs on for second place, and Brian Simo comes all the way from the back to the rostrum. Wow. We're on board with the winner. 2 race wins in a row for the Black Jag. Paul Gentilozzi, what a day.
Well, with the way Paul Gentilozzi's race has gone, he's probably doing the toughest part of it right now. That's trying to get all the hoses disconnected, free himself from the cockpit of a very fast Jaguar. Let Paul crawl out here.
How you doing, G?
Unbelievable ride, Paul. Congratulations. I mean, after you ended up getting the pole due to the problem with Brian, you just put on a clinic out there. It was a great run. Well, let's get your helmet off. And, of course, there was some serious money on the line here with that Simple Green bonus money up to 30 grand. You did everything you could, except Simo got you with fast lap.
Well, the bad luck he had in qualifying, I knew he wasn't going to let me win the whole day. He was going to ruin my day somehow, but that's all right. All Rocket Sports and Team Homelink Racing cares about is winning the race. The money we can earn some other time.
How'd it go for you out there? It looked like it was a fairly trouble-free run for you.
Well, Johnny put on some great pressure, and on the short runs, he did a heck of a job. I think it was just perhaps my experience with the racetrack a little bit. I got some bad breaks in traffic that let him get close, and then all I wanted to do was race hard enough to be in front.
Well, you did just that, obviously. There is some other consolation. High Tech Performance, who sponsors the Owners Award, we're giving that nice 5 grand bonus, and it was just announced. Rocket Sports got that for leading at the halfway point. So good year, all in all.
Well, Bruce Hanusoski and his family out there build the best trailers anywhere in the country. We're honored to have one, and certainly honored to win some of Bruce's money. I like it.
Congratulations, and again, a little bit closer into points.
I got to thank all the guys, Troy, Mark, everybody on the team, Butch, Tony, John. Gosh, I'm forgetting everything. I'm a little excited right now, Greg.
Well, I think you've earned it. Go party.
Hey, thanks very much, guys. 2 in a row.
The champagne will flow for Gentilozzi tonight. Now in the High Tech Performance Trailers owners points, Rocket Sports now leads by 1 point. That point is the 1 point Simo did not get for his pole position here because he technically wasn't in the Fast Five, and Gentilozzi was.
The B.F. Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series is presented by B.F. Goodrich Tires. Take control. And sponsored by Nicorette Gum. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Remember we talked about that hard left rear tire on the corner of Johnny Miller's car? Well, guess what? Took him right up into second place, a podium finish. And Johnny, before we grabbed you for the interview, we heard you say, hey, we finished. I mean, this has all around been a great weekend for you.
It sure has. You know, we struggled all weekend, and we've struggled the past few races with the car being great and then failing on us, and or just something wild happened at the end. And we had an awesome race car today, great tires. I got a little aggressive at the beginning, you know, hounding on Paul, and I used a little bit too much car, but we held on, and boy, Brian put on a strong showing, man. He was there at the end.
As you look at our full field rundown, Jeff Altenberg, good run for him. Bruce Cavalli finished in 6th place. Reese, after the pit stop, came back up to 9th place again, and Bob Ruman rounds out our top 10 local boy.
Yeah, and you look at this page, and there's a bunch of names here you wouldn't expect. Tony Ave, not his day. He won at G.J. Menon. We're used to seeing those guys up top, but not here today.
Move on down. Tommy Dreese had a pit stop for that electrical trouble. That put him all the way back down into 21st place. Bertine, we know, had trouble. He caused the yellow flag earlier. As you look down through this, John Paul Jr. was disqualified and suspended. But let's go to Brian Simo.
After the problems in qualifying, you started dead last, 31st. You finished 3rd, and everybody was talking about you needed the yellow. When that second yellow came out near the end, you were already 3rd. You got there on your own. Right. What a drive!
Yeah, that was it was good. You know, what kept us from getting up there a little, you know, getting our position a little bit better was traffic, and you know, we dealt with a lot of the same traffic multiple times. But you know, you got to hand it to this Huffaker team, this Huffaker horsepower and this Tommy Bahama team. Really did a good team. Really did a good job.
Now, Paul claims that you knew about this $30,000 bonus. It looked like he was leading every lap, and he had the pole, obviously, due to the situation. He led a lap. You were absolutely determined not to give him that fast lap.
No. Well, we had the race car. This was a very, very good race car, and you can't take that away from the team. I mean, you know, it's something that everybody earns. This is a team sport, and I don't want to forget those guys. And we'll salvage what we can. 3rd place is not what we like. We'll take the points. We'll take the fast lap, and that's our compensation for the weekend.
Even though you didn't get the win, coming from 31st to 3rd without the yellows, I mean, you did it on your own. That really is the evidence of what you're talking about having the car.
Yeah, you got to have a good race car, you know, and you know, and this Mangusta is wonderful. I mean, it really is. It's a brand new car, and the world doesn't even know what it is. And you know, these B.F. Goodrich tires were absolutely outstanding. We opted for what we call a softer compound, less conservative, and stood up absolutely outstanding. I think our fastest lap was late in the race, or if not the last couple laps, so that's a testament to the tires.
Got to ask you the question, after qualifying, you got that time taken away due to the nose being a little bit low on the car. Mm-hmm. I think you proved here that it didn't much matter. The car was fast, and that was just an oversight, probably. Huh?
Well, it was a struggle. We pushed a little too hard to get the car prepared for qualifying, and we simply ran out of time. And there's no blame to be had. You know, we have to be thorough, and these cars have to be exact, or we don't get the kind of race car that we had. And you know, boy, a little bit in racing means a lot. It means a lot to everybody, and a little bit's a big deal.
You got to believe no 3rd place has ever been as sweet for Brian Simo.
But it certainly was the entertainment of the day to watch Brian Simo come up through. Now there's 5 race wins between Simo and Gentilozzi, but Gentilozzi suddenly closing in as we look at our driver points here through 6 of the 12 rounds. Here's our Rookie of the Year point standings, and Jeff Altenberg does vault past Jack Willis, 84-71. Ken Murillo is in the top 5. Here's a replay of that incident that John Paul Jr. admitted to brain fade in, and John Paul Jr. has been suspended for 1 race because of that action. But here was plenty of action as Brian Simo, Dorsey, passed 3, 4, and 5 cars at a time sometimes.
Well, he took him when he could, and he didn't do the ones that get you in direct. So that's why he did get that 3rd place finish. Did a great job for his team. It's tough when you have no cautions. It's really hard to catch to the front.
Now the 7th round of the B.F. Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series goes from here to Road America. For more information on Trans Am and all of motorsports, log on to www.speedvision.com. For Dorsey Schrader and Greg Creamer, I'm Derek Daly saying so long from Cleveland, and congratulations to Paul Gentilozzi.